Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 11 of the NFP podcast presented by 3D Entertainment. The NFP podcast is brought to you by Sneaky Weasel Lager and Hey Y'all Southern Iced Tea, the official alcohol sponsor of the show. Hello, everybody. So good to be back. Episode 11. We're up here in northern Saskatchewan, Scottsdale, Manitoba, in the freezing cold, but I'll introduce you to the boys right now. Jason, Bossman, how you doing?
Trying to stay warm, pal. It's not easy out there, man. I don't know how the Eskimos do it.
Fuck. Imagine the homeless. I was thinking of that, man. Holy fuck. Unreal. There's a video. If you guys follow Quick Dick McDick, he's got a video. It's about Nippy. It's like a little Nippy out there. Everything, no matter how cold. Oh, that's hilarious. You gotta check that out. Sorry, Scott Byrne's with us again. Scott, how are we doing today?
Fellows, yeah, I'm good. Like you guys. This seems to be a widespread cold snap, to say the least. So I'm with you guys, just trying to stay warm, keep watering bowls thawed so animals can drink and stuff. But yeah, unreal cold. Wind, holy cow.
Polar vortex, full-fledged. We're usually in Maui right now, me and the fam. This is like, you know, when it's this cold outside and you're just fucking depressed and pissed off at how cold it is. And then your memories on like Facebook and Snapchat pop up from a year ago. And it's like, we were at the pool or just about to go on the golf course. It just fucking gets you even more like, oh my God. But yeah, I guess, what are you going to do?
Yeah, those damn memories.
Happens every year, I guess, gets this cold, but still is never good.
No.
What's your stat, Scott? What's your stat for our American viewers? What is it's minus 52 Celsius.
Minus 52 degrees Celsius works out to about minus 61 Fahrenheit. So I called Mr. Robert Lever last night. He's from down in South Texas. And I'm like, Robert, just for your information, it was minus 54 Celsius here, minus 61 Fahrenheit, and the phone was kind of dead for a second. He goes, wow. That's all he could say.
It is, yeah, it's legit. Like you wonder how, you go into the oil and gas and all that sort of stuff, and there's no way that we'd be able to live or have anything in where we're at in this country without oil and gas.
I sure hope those non-believers in the oil and gas are milking the hell out of that unicorn piss right now, because they're going to need a lot of it to keep their place warm.
Yeah, really.
There's a couple good comments on social media, and I know we've heard them, but there's been even more since it's been minus 54, and that is, hey, y'all you tree huggers out there and think the unicorn piss, the country's going to run on it. Just shut off your heat.
Yeah. Right? Turn them off. Turn off your furnaces. Yeah.
That'll fix you.
Yeah. It really comes to the forefront when it's times like these, and it, you know, it really shows how much we do need that in our industry and how much we fucking need to get it back and get our whole country back where it's supposed to be, and get over all this crazy living that we're doing right now. I know we're all going to look back, and our kids are going to look back at this time, and it's just unimaginable.
Shake their head in disgust. Probably.
Okay, what about Super Bowl? Do you guys tune in?
Well, yeah.
100%, you bet. Yep. And it wasn't for the halftime show either. It was for one reason only. I watched Brady and Gronk do it.
Yeah.
Were you in, was that in Chicago when Gronk was on the back of the chutes?
New York. I was at the Garden.
Yeah. Were you there?
No, I wasn't there. I got hurt right before that, but he got his buddy. Well, he's got like a full entourage. The guy's a full-fledged rock star. And it was kind of the same as like the Ocho Cinco thing where they're spouting off about riding a bull. And PBR, obviously like a social media type of fucking promotional deal, was reaching out, and he's a monster guy and all that sort of stuff too. So they got him to come out to the event and challenged him to the ride or whatever, because he was retired. He just retired. And so he was going to do it. And then I think they told him that he probably shouldn't do that. But he got his buddy, who was, if you watch the video, it's on YouTube and shit. His buddy, who's probably 250, 300, like big guy. Big boy. He got him to get on for him in his place. So he stood behind the chutes while this guy got on a bull, which is pretty cool about Square Garden.
That's what entourages are for.
Yeah, exactly. Wiped him out, but yeah, pretty cool. Friend of the PBR, and all around badass student. I don't know if you guys seen or not, but he's been in he went right from there to Disney World.
Disneyland, yeah, I saw that. No people, no lineups. He was pretty stoked.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You know what? He got 2 touchdowns the other night.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not an NFL regular watcher, but of course watching that. But that is the big man, and he can move. Like he's agile, unreal. I don't know, how tall would he be?
I don't know, man, but those guys, like if you get to meet any of them or know them, they are like superhumans. I remember the first time I met Jared Allen when I was signed with his team when he came into the PBR, and like he was like a giant, man. His hands, like everything about him was just a big man. And then you watch him on the field, and he wasn't the big guy by any means. You know, he was one of the faster guys out there.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, man. They're a different level of athletes.
We were at a sales meeting with a Wrangler sales meeting. Well, this would be 5-6 years ago, and they brought Bear Pasco in. And that's like when you're looking up, I'm not a small guy at 6 foot, 215. And I was like, I'm a dwarf beside like he is. Yeah. He's massive, man.
Yeah. Can you imagine crouching down at the line to for the next snap and having all those big bastards looking at you? Oh,
rip your head off. Yeah.
I went to a Rider game. Old Dutch Chips set us up with some tickets for a Saskatchewan Rough Rider game, and it was like two rows right behind the 50-yard line, 2 rows up, and all those guys are there, and you see how massive they are, and then they're lining up, and the crunch, like what you hear, you don't get it on a telecast, but you can hear them guys, their equipment banging and crashing, man. Like it's an eye opener of how freaking
how real.
That's a man's sport right there.
Yeah. So you didn't like the halftime show?
Yeah, you know what? It was okay. Sure. Canadian guy, great for him, but not really my style. I would have been, let's get Motley Crue and Poison out there doing their stadium tour, kick it off. Like that's more my style, right?
Do you remember when Steven Tyler Aerosmith? Do you remember that that halftime show? That one I was young, but that one always sticks out. Or Janet Jackson getting her tit whipped out. That was a pretty good one too.
Yeah.
I wasn't much of a Janet Jackson fan until then.
Exactly.
Oh God,
yeah. Scott, what do you think of the halftime show? Your boys probably liked it. That's more their kind of. It was good. It was just not really up our old school rock and roll mentality, but I thought it was good.
Yeah, Dylan said right off the bat, this guy's got lots of good songs, and I didn't really realize how many of his songs I really knew, but I didn't mind it. I thought it was cool. They did everything they had to do with social distancing and all that bullshit, but I mean, it was cool. And he was Canadian, so let's go with it.
Yeah. There's a.
I thought it was real interesting. Did you guys know he invested $7 million of his own dollars into the production of the show?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yep.
I wish I could have been the production manager on that. Get a little slice of that 7 sheets.
Rip it up. Yeah. They don't mess around. That's for sure. But it just came out here yesterday. I think that the viewership, television ratings were as low as they've ever been since 2007. So that's saying something there.
Is that still all the political bullshit, do you think?
Yeah, it could be a lot of things. I mean, the NFL was taking a lot of heat for the way that they were handling players, and obviously people weren't liking what the players were doing, and also that they're having a Super Bowl and a pandemic, and they had fans, and I think there's lots of different opinions and aspects on it. But I thought that it'd be through the roof with fucking nothing to do. Everybody'd be sitting watching the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But that rating really surprised me that since 2007, it's the lowest viewership that they've ever had.
I thought Tom Brady himself was going to boost that to record numbers. I really did. Maybe I'm naive to that, but that's the reason I watched.
It was so cool. Hey, that guy is unreal. I didn't watch a whole bunch of like when the Pats were winning all the time, and never really paid much attention to Brady. And, I think this year was really amped up, obviously him switching teams and then Gronk coming out of retirement. That was going through the roof. But I just watched him that whole game, and that guy's a fucking legend. He just calm, cool, didn't get wired up. He just walked, back from side to side and just, he was, as an athlete, it makes you really respect what he does.
Well, and if you guys know the story, like he was drafted way late, 100 and something overall. Like, that's, that's like the 7th rounders in NHL. They're a shot in the dark, right? They're a flyer. They like to use that word. We're going to take a flyer on this guy. Well, boy, he sure proved a lot of teams wrong over the years.
Yeah. I think, I was listening to a deal. He was drafted 6th round. So does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
6th round pick.
Yeah, it was late.
Yeah, he just, in this interview, he just said, I'm a believer in myself. And if I'm not a believer in myself, how am I going to convince the rest of the team to be believers? So he obviously takes that wherever he goes. And I mean, the guy is 43 years old, which whatever, but in that, in that sport, being as rough as it is, we just talked about how big those guys are. For him to just be the Fonz of the NFL, like the cool guy, right? kind of dating myself.
Yeah, you fucking dated yourself big time there.
But I mean, really, right? He just idles around and he's got all the confidence in the world. And I think I noticed, like, the other quarterback from the opposing team, he was just, the further it went on, even when they weren't losing that bad, the more he was just getting rattled. And, I think
but there's some talent there on the other side too.
For sure. Yeah. I'm not denying that.
So
he made some throws,
yes.
defense, the defense, the Bucs defense was all over him, but he made some stellar throws under some enormous pressure. Yep. Bright future.
Yeah, 100%. That attitude that you're talking about, that winning mindset and believing in himself, really plays into our guest that we have on the pod here today, and that's Cooper Davis. And I can't wait to talk to this guy. He's 1 in a million with the way that he goes about things, and he reminds me a lot of that Tom Brady attitude. He's just calm, cool, collected, never gets worked up, does his own thing, and is a world champion.
Yeah, I never been around him too much in a conversation side of things. So I'm really looking forward to picking his brain on a couple things. I really admire him, how he carries himself. I obviously pay attention to that sort of thing. He's always carried some of the biggest endorsements, never has a stitch out of place. He looks the part. You can tell he's the consummate pro. Right. So I'm really looking forward to drilling him with a few questions on, what he, his preparation away from the arena, stuff like that. It's nice to see a little different style than the, hair straight back like JB or Stormy, I think we're in for a little bit of a different story than our last couple guests.
I'm with you too. I never really got to know him that good, but obviously the Calgary Stampede, he was kind of a mainstay there when I was still fighting bulls. And yeah, he was that guy, perfect, posture, the way he walked in, he did his job and he left. You never really seen him afterwards. So from what I know of him, he's a businessman, and he
he's all business.
Job done, that's for sure.
One time at the World Finals, it was his rookie year in 2015. And he started wearing like these really flowery shirts because he knew that he had to be seen and to get sponsorships and stuff to stand out. And I remember we were sat this is just my bad, how fucking dumb I am, but we're doing autographs, and he's signing on his autograph. People put like, good luck or stay cool, whatever, and then you write your name to all the kids in the autographs. Well, he's writing like this number. It was like 4811 or some fucking thing. I don't know. And I kept looking at it and I was like, dude, are you giving all these girls your hotel room number? And he's like, what? I'm like, what are you writing that number on your thing for? He's like, it's a Bible verse. It's a verse from the Bible that says, with God,
I knew where it was going.
With God, anything is possible. And I was like, oh, okay, good. Well, that's a lot better. I thought you were just fucking giving all these chicks your fucking room number. I'm like, come on, man.
I knew where it was going right when you started. And I was just like, oh yeah, there's the other side. We're talking about two sides of athletes, the Stormy, JB, and then the Cooper side. And then there's the really right wing. And that's the Tanner Byrne side. Phone numbers and hotel rooms on autograph.
The hair straight back side and the business side. And here's old Red on this side, and here's Cooper on
That's awesome. I like that one. That's a good one. I'm not going to let you ever live that one down.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. Cracked me up. So we became friends really after that, right, we could laugh at each other and joke around, and then just had a lot of respect for him. The year that he won the world, we were injured near at the start of the year in 2016, and he said, I've said it on this podcast, quoted it many times, but everybody was thinking we're behind, and he said it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And I've said that on this pod many times, and that's where I first heard that from. And he won the world that year, so he's the guy that really believes in himself, and he's
well, talk
good.
about hot starts. And I know you're not going to let me trade picks. I just about spit that name out, and he looks like he could be unstoppable. You know what'll be good? Jess coming back next weekend, right?
Yeah, this coming weekend. He's coming this weekend.
This coming weekend.
Jess Lockwood. Yep.
That'll be, if he can put a couple rides together, and what a race it could be. Real exciting for PBR and PBR fans if
it's huge right now. Yeah. Weekend off last weekend. So no events, no touring pros, no velocities, nothing in Canada. So there was no events on with the PBR. This weekend kicks off again, Rio, Texas. So it's the Texas stop or Texas tour. There's 3 or so events now. They were in Florida for the first 3.
Be 4.
Is there 4 now? Yeah, 4 in Texas.
Let me look here.
So Lockwood, start of the year, as we talked, broke his jaw, took his 2 weeks off or however long it was, not very long, and he's going to try to come back this weekend. So that'll be cool to see. Cody Jesus, another guy that's been out with injury, that's been out since the Global Cup last year. Actually, I don't know if it was groin or what it might be with him, but something very serious that kept him out that long, and he's going to be back. And that's another really exciting guy to watch. And as you talk, when you got guys like Jess, like Cody Jesus, like Cole Fritzland freaking kicking ass last weekend and being hot. All that does is just raise the bar for guys like Cooper. When Jose's winning, when Lockwood's winning, that makes Cooper's fire stoked that much more, and it makes him ride better and makes everybody just do that much better. So it's so cool to see all these guys going to battle it out.
Yeah, I agree. It's a win-win for the production side, and it's a win-win for the bull riding side of it too. Those guys feed off each other, and it's going to be fun to watch. That's for sure. See how it all plays out.
Another good one to watch. Another good one to watch. Jason's bull. Jason's world champion pick of a bull. Whoopa is making his season debut. Let's see, Jason. Me and Scott obviously out to the early lead as per usual.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Good point. Well played.
Well played. Yeah. So your bull Whoopa, gonna see him for the first time, and it's with Fritzland. So the guy that just won the event last weekend, probably the hottest guy going in the whole bull riding world right now, has got him. So either way that goes, that's gonna be good for that bull, I think. Good numbers to put up. 93.5 in Rapid City, South Dakota. We had a PRCA rodeo going on there. Arena record, Junior Stratford, a young bull rider, 18 years old, hops out and sets the world on fire, and looking like another good young guy that's going to go a long ways. And bunch of good Canadians did well there. Curtis Cassidy, Colby Wanchuk, Jake Watson, Jerry Bueller, to name a few, all got pulled checks out of Rapid City. So I think in this shortened season, it's going to be key to take advantage of every chance that you get. So good to see those guys down there and going at it.
How about the crowd?
Yeah.
It's almost like a freaking sci-fi movie seeing that many people in the audience. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is good to see. Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait. Cannot wait.
I think too, like last year, March, this all hit and whatever. I think you're going to see more guys from Canada take advantage of every little stop, or more guys even go down and compete. You know what I mean? Because of the shortened season or whatever. But I think we're going to see more Canadian contingent down there, than last year for sure.
Well, if they want a rodeo, they're going to have to go. Yeah,
you got to take advantage of fucking everything you can right now, because there might be 10, there might be 50. Who knows? Like you say, it's made everybody realize, I think too, that you don't know what you got till it's gone. So it's been gone for a lot of guys, and everybody's fucking got that fire to get back to it and go hard.
But I think different than last year, there were some guys decided to wait it out a little longer than they should have, right? So by the time it got to I should have been going, it was too late. Right. I think with what we went through last year, playing into this year, guys are going to hit it harder, faster, and take more advantage of things that are going on. So it should be interesting for our Canadians, as well as the Americans or whatever, but it's going to be fun to watch more Canadians for sure.
Yeah. Other than the hindrance of the fucking border situation right now, though, that's playing into it huge. If you're willing to go down there and stay down there, if you don't got your family and all that sort of stuff, but as we talked on the last
come true when you're 25.
But not for kids, like for young guys that should be going. Yeah, what else are you gonna do? Go. But I mean, like your older contingent of rodeo guys.
Not even too old. Yeah. But like a Zeke Thurston, he's a family man.
Yeah.
That's a huge commitment. And then when you come home, you might have to go in frickin' COVID jail in Calgary for.
So 2 weeks. Yeah, right. So there's
spend $2,000 a week.
There's a lot of uncertainty to go, if you got nothing to lose, fucking rip it and go, right? But for the other side, there's not. But
that is a definite variable on the whole thing. That's for sure.
Our PBR Canada production manager, Pete Derbrad, FaceTimed me or Vibered me because I'm not an Apple puppet. I'm like Scott. We're Android guys. We're businessmen. Anyway, he Vibered me and he's got his mask hanging off his ear, and I'm like, "Oh, you just taking that off?" He goes, "Well, you don't really even need to wear one. They temperature check you wherever you go. Make sure there's hand sanitizer everywhere." This is in Mazatlan, Mexico, and they're he's on the Malecon, it's called, the boardwalk there, getting some signs put on his vehicle he bought down there. And he just said, it's wide open. There's no real restrictions. Everybody's just being cautious. And he said it's, which is great to see. But I'm wondering why we can't travel south anymore. Maybe they don't want anybody to see that. I don't know. But it was an eye-opener for sure. Watching Rapid City and then watching how Mexico is just flying around, people doing everything.
It's our country. It's our country. It's our fucking leader. Ours is the way that it is. Yeah.
I was going to say travel south. I can't even really legally leave Manitoba and come back in the 2 hours later.
Still in lockdown? Are you still?
Yeah.
Is that still applied for you guys?
Yeah, and now it's even worse because crazy. if I leave the province and turn around and come back in, I got to quarantine for 2 weeks. That's within our own country. Right?
They had the Super Bowl we all watched. It was 20-some thousand people, I think, were allowed at it. You seen Rapid City, packed house. Our leader tweeted for Canadians not to go to Super Bowl parties or to mingle within other households or within your family. We're fucking, it's not good.
Be careful how you use that word leader, Tanner.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I want to give you my views on that, but that's the thing. You're not going to tell me I'm not going to go to a Super Bowl party to the neighbors across the road. I'm sorry. You can try to take away. Yeah, you can take away my try to take away my freedom as much as you want, but I'm going to eat a hot wing with some ranch dressing on it at the neighbors. So you can kiss my ass, right?
That's good.
Watch now there'll be a knock at the door and 6 people will drag me away to COVID jail.
Exactly. So. Who knows?
Speaking of appies and drinks, maybe we should do a sponsor plug, Tanner?
Oh, well, I guess while we're here, there's no reason not to. That's for sure. We'll get right into that. We got, hey, y'all, Southern Iced Teas. Hey, y'all, Southern Iced Tea. Our tea is always served iced and hard. This vodka-based iced tea is brewed with genuine black tea and lightly sweetened. Enjoy a Hey, y'all, Southern Iced Tea while taking in the main bull riding event or sipping a cold one on the porch or in your basement when you're freezing the fucking cold and all you can do is drink Hey, y'all, Iced Teas. That's my plan. Hey, y'all, Southern Iced Teas, the official refreshment beverage of the NFP podcast.
Have you got yours yet, Scott? Has yours showed up at your house?
No, I think the truck froze up. They just couldn't deliver it. So
maybe
when it gets warmer.
Maybe next week.
Forgot to plug my truck in. Sorry about that. Stetson Wright, also in Rapid City. We talked about it on the podcast we did with the Wright family, the controversial ruling of the markout rule. Get Stetson again, and there's some talk on that. There's video where it looks like he got it. It's there's lots of back and forth going on. Jason, did you see that?
I did actually. I on Instagram, I think it's Bronc Riding Nation. I follow maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one. Yep.
Yeah, and they slowed it down, and yeah, you see the comments, and really what it boils down to is the one comment is it's over. The judge has already made the call. You can talk about it all day, and when it's a call an official has to make, that's a tough situation. There's, unlike the PBR, there's no replay, there's no button to push, which I think if you're going to have the mark out rule, at least at that national finals rodeo level, there should be a buzzer. There should be an opportunity to hit a button and challenge it. But
yeah, at the NFR. Yeah. You won't have it at those other ones, though. Yeah.
No, and you'll never have it at the NFR. There's no way. They pride themselves on what they do on a timeline. Could you imagine in that, in the 3 rough stock events, if there's a challenge, and then you got to keep the time event guys happy.
Well, I was just going to say that they'd have to get 3 or 4 buzzers in there because they'd wear one out, right?
Well, you never know. I'm not going there.
Barrel racers.
Yeah. No, but you know what people got to understand about professional rodeo and rodeo in general is that it's real-time judging. It's happening right now with no replay, like you said. And I've never rode a bronc, but I've hung around lots of bronc riders over the years, and they'll all say outright, if you don't make that mark out, it affects your entire ride because you're a little bit behind. So my thing is, take it away. Don't make it a rule, and let the judging speak for itself throughout the ride. Well, I don't know. That's what I've always been told.
Then I have to go back to Stetson's ride. If it's going to put you behind, then he didn't miss that horse out because he was bang on every jump out.
That's why it was. Yeah, he probably would have won the whole damn thing. So
yeah, he got a check in the bull ride. Spencer and Rusty, they didn't make it. They had to turn around due to wind. Actually, believe it or not, on the interstate. But Ryder got a check, and Stetson got one in the bull ride. So it's good to see him hitting the pay window.
We're going to see Zeke Thurston in San Antonio. He is having a child here any moment. So he opted out of Rapid City and San Antonio, the American, and we'll see the rights and a bunch of our crew there.
How many kids Zeke got now, or what number will this be?
This will be number 2. Yep. Number 2. Yep. So
remember when him and his little bros used to just run around and be actually, I can't even say they were little pains in the ass. They were actually pretty good kids. They were always hanging around the bullfighting room or the trailer. They were all, well, they were contract act kids for years too.
Thurston gang.
The Thurston gang. So, it's funny, man. Like, it just seems like it was just not that long ago. They were knee high to a grasshopper.
And talented.
Oh
too,
yeah,
right? So
that's the thing with Zeke, and I can't speak for the other brothers as much. I don't know them as well, but I've talked to guys like Tyler Thompson and Leighton Green and those guys, and they talk about how good he is as a bronc rider, but how fucking good of a hand he is. Like,
cowboy,
anything, cowboy to the core. Yeah, breaking colts, riding bulls. Man, he was awesome. He was a wicked little junior bull rider and shit. He could have made a living as a bull rider too. He's all around hand. He's a very, very talented guy.
And if he wants to, he could also trick ride. So
there's
not many guys that can do that.
Shit.
So.
That's pretty cool. Hockey, what do you got for us there, Jason? I know that Bear was put on the injured reserve. Can you explain what the IR is to us for people that don't know?
Yeah, it's when a team puts a guy on injured reserve, it allows them to bring up another player, and that cap is relieved. With especially today, so many teams are pushing that up cap. It's a cap world, salary cap. When I use the word cap, at 81.5 million. So it allows them to bring another player up off the taxi squad, and they can pull Ethan's $2 million off the books for that time. So they're just taking it slow with Ethan, and it was such a freak accident, but you know how we can't mess around with head injuries anymore, and he's a real valuable asset to that blue line and that hockey club, and they can keep sneaking some wins out. I see Smith is back last night, got the win for him.
Yep.
So that's good to see. They got their tandem. I think what they wanted to start the year with, that tandem is ready to go now. Koskinen really got worked hard. He played all the games except for one. So with this condensed schedule, that's a lot to ask for from a goalie. This Kachuk Cassian feud is good, especially in the Canadian division now, man.
Yeah.
So, whenever he's lined up, but he went on the IR today as well. I'm
Cassian
not sure
did?
what the deal is. I don't know if it was his hand. I don't know what happened. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he didn't come back after that fight.
No.
No.
But I like it. The rivalries are great. That's what sports are all about.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh,
No, I was just
more big news there, Scott. Manitoba boy Ron Hextall is joining the Pittsburgh Penguins. I was just texting with our friend Curtis Lasician. We were talking about it last week. Curtis is working with the Colorado Avalanche, and the assistant GM there, Chris McFarland, real smart hockey guy. I've dealt with him for probably 7 or 8 years, and he was in the running there too. Because I was asking Kurt if he's moving up the ladder into management, but he's like, no chance, old boy. I'm staying right here.
Yeah.
So, and then Brian Burke joined.
Yeah, Berkey's going there too.
Yeah.
I really talk about a guy that's done it all. Hey, that guy has played every role.
I really thought he'd found his niche with Sportsnet. I enjoyed listening to him because he's a no bullshit guy. I actually had the pleasure of sitting with him in the Brandon arena one night. Kelly McCrimmon had me sitting up in his suite with Brian Burke. I forget what he would have been there watching. Anyway, just a real down-to-earth guy. Met him at the Calgary Stampede once with Luke Shen. He drafted Luke in Toronto, and Luke introduced me to him then. So I've had a couple opportunities to bullshit with him, and he's just a straightforward guy. Like, he's interested in what you're up to and what you're doing, and he don't sugarcoat anything. He's got his opinion, and he stands behind it. You got to respect that. So I obviously his love to be in the front office is outweighing his TV obligation to Sportsnet, which I admire that. I think that's his jam. That's his bread and butter. And that's where he wants to be. So good for him, because yes, just like bull riding careers, man, your executive career in the National Hockey League can be very short-lived.
Yeah. Take advantage of what you can. Hey, I think it was Berkey at Calgary one year when he was with the Flames. He won at the Ranchman's Bull Ride, and he won the Calcutta and donated all of it back. And it was like 40 or 50,000. He donated back to the Children's Hospital or the Children's Fund that it was there. That was pretty,
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Yeah. Kind of shows his character, I think, right there. Speaking of Shanner, what about him? He's just been dropping the mitts. There was a good video of him. He had a bunch of blood all over his forehead the other day. But what is he at his role there, or what's going on with him?
Well, if any hockey fan that has watched any of Braden Shen's, any of whatever team he's been with, if it was Philly or St. Louis, like he's a throwback. He's playoff Braden Shen. Is one of the best players you could ever want on your team. He's captain material. He's not scared to go anybody. He plays the game real hard. He's just Braden to me because I know him so well, but I admire the way he plays. And if you're going to mess with the bull, you're going to get the horns, and he's not scared to go. He is not scared to go. I've seen him drop the mitts with Tom Wilson, which that's not easy to do. And it didn't go real well for him, but he still did it. He knew what he was getting himself into when he did it, but he owned up to it. So it's good. St. Louis got to get their mojo here. They got to get going.
Get shit rolling.
And that's the kind of guy Braden is. Obviously Doug Arms, he likes him. He signed him to that big deal, 7-year deal. So we'll see what happens. He just got announced he's going to be the GM of the Olympic team.
Really?
So
Team Canada?
Yeah. We'll see if he see who he wants to take off his team. Maybe Braden gets consideration. Which
that's going to be a pretty stacked team.
Well, yeah. Like when you start picking a team Canada, you're going to piss some people off, leaving some players at home, but in that bottom, when you look at an NHL team, you got the top 6 and the bottom 6, right? And you have the roles you play. And I'm not going to get into that. But Braden Shen is a guy that can go from center ice on line 1, 2, 3, or 4 and be an impact. That's what I think of Braden Shen. He can play the game however however style you want to play.
Yep.
And he'll take on that role and be effective for his coach, whoever that coach may be.
Awesome. Yep. No, that's cool. That's gonna be good to follow him. And what about Stevenson? He had a good game the other night. I think Vegas had some COVID issues. I think what's their squad? Henderson is their affiliate team, and they had
actually watched a couple games from Henderson. They're playing at the Orleans until their arena gets built. Speaking of Curtis, his boy Jake Lasician is on that team. So I watched actually their first 2 games. They do it right, man. You should see the opening for the Henderson Silver Knights. They had it actually, it showed it, and it was pretty cool. And they got this larger than life character on the mic being the voice, like from the old day. Yeah, it's pretty neat, you know.
Yeah.
Not too many people tune into American Hockey League games, but I can't wait till we can travel, and it'll be nice. Guy can go down there. I told Twyla we're just going to move down in October and hang out there, watch the PBR, watch hockey, watch the NFR, and then come home. Just, 2.5 months. We'll just stay there. Climate's a little better than Saskatchewan.
No shit. Yeah.
Leave the kids 6 frozen pizzas and hit the road.
There. I didn't even consider that even. I haven't even thought of that. They can figure it out.
Yeah.
That's good. PBR, back to it. Del Rio, we were talking about. There's some crazy history in Del Rio. It's going to be pretty cool to see a PBR top tier event, an Unleash the Beast event in that rodeo grounds.
I still, Donnie Joe wears that buckle. Donnie Johansson.
Hell yeah.
That's cool, man. That's history. You're right. Yeah, that is sports machine. What was it slipped my mind.
George Michael?
George Michael sports machine. When he was interviewing Lane and Tough. That's
fucking
I love
legendary.
That guy's voice. I love that guy's voice, man.
Yep. There's a video that Randy Quatiri has. You can find it on, I don't know, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. But he did he had a bunch of old footage of Miles Hare and Tough and Ty and all those guys in Del Rio one year. And I won't do the video justice, but it's unreal. It just shows like the history of that place, what it meant to all those guys, and how much fucking fun they had. It looked like just a huge party. So yeah, looking forward to seeing the best bull riders in the world go against the best bulls in the world in that place and get to watch it. But speaking of that, we got to get to it. Our picks for the weekend. Who do you guys got? Who are you taking? Put you on the spot.
First?
Put you on the spot.
Cooper Davis.
Yeah.
There, you finally got it.
He finally got his pick. Scott, what are you thinking? Joe Jess on his comeback, or?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think that's going to be a pretty decent pick. I mean, barring he doesn't get bumped in the chin a little bit, it might be a little tender, but
that'll be interesting to see too. How that goes, because as much as you don't think that plays into your riding style, I mean, it's going to be in the back of your mind that you don't want to get hit in the fucking face again.
Well, like with a helmet on, can you imagine getting tapped in the jaw with that? Oh my god,
no!
He's still wired shut. I'm sure he's still wired shut, right?
Yeah, the last post I seen him, I was looking at it this morning. The way he's kind of holding his face, I think he is. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with him. The kid's he's a sure bet in my mind. So
yep, there you go. Okay, I think our boy has he's one of those guys that once his back's up against the wall and he's on the edge of the cut line, he always seems to step up, or in any situation he seems to step up, and he's due. JB Mooney, I'm taking him. He's got to do it.
Like all our picks, fellas. I'm
He's
happy with any one of them.
Yep, he's got to do it. Okay, well, without further ado, we're going to go to this interview with 2016 world champion Cooper Davis. Hope everybody enjoys. Our guest today on the show is the 2016 PBR champion of the world, 6-time PBR World Finals qualifier, the World Finals event champion, the man currently leading the 2021 PBR World standings, who just surpassed $3 million in earnings in the PBR, from Jasper, Texas, the one and only Cooper Davis. Cooper, what's up, man?
Not much, man. Just getting that window tint.
Yeah, looks like it. I thought you were at the bar when you came on there, just having a good old Tuesday
Yeah, no.
afternoon.
I thought you might be in COVID jail, but you're in Texas. There's no such thing as COVID jails in Texas. Huh?
Yeah, I think we're all over it pretty much down here.
Yeah. Hopefully we get there pretty soon because we're in about minus 52 or so outside. It's kind of a polar vortex, and we're not allowed to hang out with our families or anybody like that. So we'll get past that hopefully pretty soon, though.
Yeah, that's a little too cold right there. About 40 degrees here, and I'm sitting inside for a little while. So
yeah,
I did the conversion yesterday. Minus 52 or 54 is about minus 61 Fahrenheit, if that means anything to you. So
yeah, no thanks to that. I'm out.
Oh man. Okay, Coop. $3 million in earnings. You just surpassed that. How does that stack up on you? You have so many achievements, but how does that stack up? There's only been like 12 or so guys to ever win that much money. When you came over to the PBR, was that always your goal, win as much money as you could, or where does that stack up, passing that the other weekend?
I mean, that's always the goal, I guess, is win as much money as you can. But then you start thinking, like, where'd all that money go? Because I don't know. I don't have that in the bank. So that's, that's my biggest thought on that. But no, it's cool to be in that group of guys that have won that much money. And, I'm not done yet. So got to keep stacking it.
Keep stacking some more on there.
Yes, sir.
Three more sheets. Get it to 6 million. One sheet
I don't
at
know
a time.
if my career will be that long.
World title at the end of this year.
Long.
World title at the end of this year to get you there. 33% of the way there, buddy.
That's right, man.
So what about growing up? You grew up in Jasper, Texas, or is that where you're living now, or is that where you're born and raised?
Yeah, so I grew up in Jasper, which is about 30 miles from where I live now, and kind of just grew up, normal kid, no family rodeo background, anything like that, and kind of grew up watching the PBR, and that was like the coolest thing in the world to me, is seeing those guys get on. And parents wouldn't let me do it. They were like, it's too dangerous. Go be a lawyer. Go do anything but that. We'll buy you all the horses you want if you want to just be in the rodeo. And long story short, when I was about 13, I talked him into letting me get on bulls, and it turned out to be a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
So who was your main influence then as a youngster at 13 then, Cooper? Like, I know you live in Texas, so you probably didn't have to go far to find a practice pen, but who did you reach out to first to tie your hand to one?
Yeah, so David Wisner, Lufkin Ranch and Rodeo, they were 30 miles down the road. They always had a bunch of really good bulls to get on, and I don't know, like my mentality was like, if I'm going to go do this, then I just need to go ahead and, go get on the best bulls I can get on and get good that way. Because, I seen all these guys going to get on around the house, and they were just getting on jumping kickers, and that wasn't really appealing to me. So anyway, started going over there when I was like 13 or 14. And by the time I was, 16 or 17, I had it pretty much figured out from then on.
Well, so you're at 16, 17, you're 3-4 years into it. I know in anyone's professional career, there's been times they probably stand there, look at themselves in the mirror and say, you know what, maybe I'm in over my head here. Was there ever a time in those 3 or 4 years, or even before you got to the PBR or to the NFR, Cooper, where you were like, I don't know, maybe I should try a different career path?
Yeah, I mean, I actually tried going to college for about 2 months, and then that kind of taught me that I'd just be better off going to ride bulls, because sitting in a classroom wasn't for me either.
Did you go with Colby Yates? Because we just had him on a few weeks ago, and he had the exact same story.
I think most bull riders fit that story. I'm fucking doing this, man.
You learned real quick that bull riding's an easier way.
Yeah.
Bull riding's an easier path than sitting in that classroom.
So you said growing up, watching the PBR, and who was your hero in that end of it, or the guy you most wanted to emulate as you started into yours?
Yeah, like Chris Shivers, he was always one of them, and Jim Sharp. Those two guys right there, they stayed on a lot of bulls, and I think Jim always was probably one of the best guys. I think never won a world title in the PBR, and that was, the guy was just rank. I mean, he could ride any bull that you put under him, and
And
that
looks
was
so
always
good on him too. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you find a prettier guy on a bull ever than Jim
No,
Sharp.
and that dude he'd make him look crazy, like he'd make a rank bull just look like a day off.
Almost to a fault, eh?
Yeah. I mean, he lost a few points that way, I believe. He rode some ranked bulls and just made it look too easy at times.
Right.
Definitely. Okay, Coop, let's go back. I remember one year we were both young. Are you a 94?
I'm 94 model.
94 model. So you're 2 years younger than me. I remember being in Wainwright, Alberta. A lot of people probably don't know that Clayton Fultine is your brother-in-law.
Yeah.
You were traveling with him, rolling up there, and you didn't get into Wainwright. He's behind the buck and shoot. So could you imagine this? Cooper Davis, who Cooper Davis is now, is behind the buck and shoots. Didn't get into Wainwright, Alberta. But I think that you went on to make the NFR that year. What made you go on to that rodeo side first and travel all across, even into Canada, and just go as hard at it as you could?
Man, I don't know. Like, that was always my dream. Like, I went and watched the NFR, and when I was, I think, 16 or 17, when Clayton made it one year, and that was just like, that was the coolest thing in the world to me, was watching the grand entry of that deal. And the NFR, it's the most iconic rodeo in the world, and
Those
you
yellow
want to be there.
shoots, those yellow
Those
shoots
yellow
do
shoots.
something for you, don't they?
They get you every time, and every December I think about buying my card back and doing it again. But it's just, I mean, like, every kid that asks me, that's always my advice to them, is go rodeo and, kind of get all that out of your system, go make the NFR, and then you don't have any regrets of, I wish I would have done it.
Yeah, it seems like lots of guys start over there and then come to the PBR side. It's pretty hard to go back to it. But there is guys, and especially in seasons like this year or even last year, where everything is a lot. There's way less rodeos than there normally is. Is it something that you would look at this season, or you want to stick with that PBR and win that world title this year?
I'm going to stick with the PBR and go after that world title again this year, because, as iconic as the NFR is and all that stuff, I mean, being at home with family, that's kind of where I like to stay at. So I can go leave on a Friday and be back home on Sunday, where rodeo, you're gone for a month or two at a time. And I don't know, I'm just kind of past that point in my life.
Yeah, how old's Mac now? Mac, how old's he? 5?
He'll be 6 in May. Yeah.
So that's got to be tough when at that age. Like, obviously, if anybody follows your Instagram, like, he's quite a character himself.
Oh yeah.
So it's got to be hard, leaving. I see the next month you guys are here, right on your backyard in Texas. Will you travel with the family here these next 4 events?
Not the next 3 events, but after that they'll go. He's got his last basketball game this weekend, and that's what makes it so hard to leave, is, like, I spent all this time with him at home, and we practice shooting basketball, and I don't get to see him, in games. So FaceTime's about as close as I get to that. But that's the only drawback, I guess, to this PBR deal in general, is you got to miss that stuff on the weekends that you really want to see.
Yeah.
But you probably wouldn't trade it for a 9-to-5 working everyday job,
Absolutely
would you?
not. No, I'm good with 8 seconds.
Yeah,
there has been a time in your career after you won your first world title where I know myself and a lot of us in the locker room didn't think that you were going to be still going right now. I thought that there was a point where for a while there you didn't want to be there, and you noticed it at events and noticed it in your riding. What kind of made that switch back to get you back to where you want to be right now, and obviously back riding probably better than you ever have?
For about 3 or 4 years right there, I just felt like I'd already accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish, and what's next? I mean, I was kind of just there because I had sponsorship obligations, and as bad as that sounds, but after I broke my neck the last year, I was sitting there, and for 6 months not being able to do anything, you start realizing that you actually love the sport more than you realize in the beginning, and you start wanting to do it for the right reasons again. And that's what happened to me. I sit there and contemplated, what would I do in life if I didn't ride bulls, and that that kind of lit a fire into me again.
Well, it's burning bright, man. 70, what did I read? 73% riding percentage. Like, that's, I know we're still working off, just a handful of events to start, but that's amazing. From the World Finals till start of 2021, did you change anything up in your training or how you focus going into this year? Like, obviously you set goals. You're obviously a goal-orientated guy, but what's the difference this year from others?
I think other years, I would pretty much take off from November to January and just kind of say the heck with it. But this year, like I stayed pretty adamant and working out, the routine, eating right, that type of stuff. And that's been the difference, I think, coming into this year, where other years I was just kind of, lazy. I just wanted that break and wanted to take a break and from the whole thing and not think about it. But, I still had that fire in November, and that's what I think has been the game changer so far.
What's the fucking gym that you were just at, you and Caitlin, on your Instagram? There was it was like fucking rocks and a beach. And walk us through that for people that follow Coop on Instagram and go on there and check out where he was in the off season.
Yeah, so the Jungle Gym in Tulum, we'd always followed it for like the last 2 or 3 years, and man, like Caitlin, like for those guys that follow her or whatever, I mean, she kicks my butt in the gym. Like, she's way more into it than I am even. And so anyway, like we'd get up every morning and run like 2 miles to this gym through the mud and everything else. And then once we got there, it was just basically working out with rocks and sticks and everything else.
Yeah,
it was really cool.
That's badass.
The Bam Bam workout.
The Fred Flintstone workout. That's right.
Literally.
Okay, let's go to let's start. Went to the NFR, you got that done. You come over to the PBR, you make the World Finals your first year, 2015, or what was your rookie year? 2014.
Yes. Yeah, 2015 was my rookie year. 14, I basically spent a half a year trying to just build up enough points, I guess, to get to the, unleash the beast or whatever it was at that time. Built Ford Tough. And, I wasted a whole year doing that. And then 15, that was my rookie year. And, that was the start of it. Kind of started it kind of chunky. And by the end of August, they called me a fat kid and went and lost some weight and started riding good.
How'd that go?
What kind of weight did you drop off? Like when you say you're a fat kid?
I think he said chunky, but
that was a fucking sweet, typical PBR. That was fat shaming. Like, I don't think you can probably get away with that anymore, but it worked for you. And I remember hearing the stories. I was like, wait a second. They were just like, that's like bullying.
Kind of pissed me off at the beginning of it. I was sitting there and I was actually standing next to some stock contractors, and JW and Cody were standing over there kind of laughing and pointing. I was like, what are y'all laughing at? And they're like, well, we're looking at you guys and we couldn't figure out which one was the stock contractor or the board. Like, all right, well, what's that mean? They're like, yeah, you lose a little weight, you probably ride a little better. You ride good now, but
oh shit.
You got to have since you brought up Cody, you got to have a good cleat story.
Man.
Story. Here we go. So you don't even need to set this up. Let's hear one.
Man. The first time me and Cleet ever actually like had a conversation, that was probably the first thing he ever said to me, by the way. I walked past him for 6 months there, and he just kind of looked at me and nod. And anyway, after that, he called me a fat kid and everything else. So, but no, once I started riding and kind of knowing him a little bit, he came up to my chute one day and he tried to rush me. And I was like, you go stand over there in that corner. When I get done, I'll come over there and talk to you. But I got my own stuff to worry about right now. So he goes over there and stands in his corner. He's all pouting. And I guess he didn't think I'd ride this bull. And I rode him and walked over there to him. Said, well, that's a pretty damn good ride there. He didn't say another word about it.
You go stand in your corner there.
You guys do have like a mutual respect, though. I can see it, and he talks really well about you. And one of his quotes is that the best ride that he's ever seen, and that's Cody Lambert. He's been around since pretty much the fucking start of bull riding, I feel like, but he's seen them all, and he quotes that your ride on Smooth Operator was the best ride that he's ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, that means a lot. I mean, I respect that guy, just as much as any other guy that ever tied his hand in a bull rope. And he's kind of hard to understand at times, but once you realize where he's coming from on a lot of things, he wants the best for us. And we don't always have to agree on things, but the man's always got us number one priority and everything. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So then 2015, you get fat shamed, you lose a bunch of weight, show everybody how much of a badass you are by going into the world finals and winning the world finals your rookie year.
Yeah, I mean, that was, that's something I didn't really realize that, it could happen. And, I was kind of blown away by it. And it was kind of like my first step in having the confidence to go really try to win that world title the next year. And, sometimes it takes proving to yourself to actually, I guess, have the confidence. And, it worked out.
It is. It seemed very unattainable before you did that. I remember being at the finals that year and you winning it. And then even 2016, when you won the world finals or won the world, it was like JB or the Brazilians. It wasn't like one of us, as a young guy. It was like, that wasn't even it's always like up there, but it's not actually fucking attainable. And then you did it. And it was like, holy shit, like maybe this is legit. So you winning that finals with your colorful flowered up shirts, that gave you the confidence then to be like, hey, I'm one of the best in the world at this. And I think I can win a world title.
Yeah. I mean, that was it right there, cause before that I was just kind of like, I want to make the finals, and, that's as good as I ever thought I was. And, I started kind of, reading these books and kind of, I guess, figuring out like how to psych yourself into being a badass. And that's, that was, one of the main things was, believe it. And, I don't know, once you start believing in yourself, there's all kinds of things that you can make happen that you didn't think you could.
Your mental game. Yeah. Hey, this is funny.
I don't want to put you on the spot here, Coop, but what would you, for our listeners, do you got one book in particular? Can you fire us a title that
really... I think it was called Cybernetics or something like that. Sage has read it, and that's actually who turned me on to it. But I mean, basically, like, it teaches you how to train your mind into, believing in yourself on, pretty much every level.
So when you put that book down, is that something that you still pick back up, or have you trained yourself, or so to speak, have you trained your mind, and that's something you consider part of your workout or your regimen on a weekly basis?
That's kind of something that I've pretty much just kind of fall back on now. I hadn't reread the book or anything, but, like, every time I get in the chute right now, like, I focus on one thing. Like, for instance, like, this is weird, but like, I'll go through like a whole process of like, I'll look at the Cooper tire sign, like, I guess that relates to me. And then, like, I pretty much think to myself, like, you're the baddest bull rider in the world. Like, you can ride any bull that run under you type deal. And I go through that same routine, like, every time I get on, and get the same mindset. And that's been a big asset.
That's gold, man. I hope some of our listeners take that and do something with it. We're in the same business up here in the PBR business, and we've got some youngsters. And I hope they listen to this, how, where you came from at 13 to now, and even being a world champion, in 16, and to turn it around again to where you're at today. Obviously you're proving it's just not something that you can just go do. You got to work at it every single day.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
every
absolutely.
day, every ride. That's like, and I noticed that with you, Cooper, you like the focus that you had, right? Everybody, myself included, you let outside influences kind of take over what was going on when you were supposed to be riding, and you always you'd show up late lots of the times, or however you do it, you just did it your own way all the time. And like you say, you had your routines that you went through on the back of the chutes, and you could see that it was just laser focus. And the proof's in the pudding. What you do, right? You the more you put into it, the better success you have.
Yeah, I mean, like, they always picked at me about being late and stuff, but when you show up late, they don't have time to interview you. They don't have time to get in your way. All you can say is, hey, I got to get ready, And that was always my thought process with that.
I didn't have to worry about that. They didn't want to interview me anyway.
It's unique now. What are we, episode what here, Tanner?
11. Yeah.
Cooper? We've had Stormy and we've had JB, a couple Wildcats, Bryce West, he's kind of a Wildcat from Canada here. Now you as a world champion, like I don't know you at all. You know, I know who you are. Obviously, we haven't crossed paths in in the last few years at all, but you just seem like the Texas oil man coming in with your silver belly hat on, like, sharp dressed, strictly business, like no shenanigans. I don't even know if we can ask a story like we can ask JB or Stormy about Cooper Davis, because it seems like you're just 110% focused on business, which I appreciate.
Man, that's the way I try to keep it. Like I don't try to go and, like, for instance, 99% of the time, like, I won't go stay at the host just because I don't want to be distracted. I just want to go focus, like, on my own thing. And it kind of goes back to, like, showing up late and stuff like that. But, like, I mean, there's a time and a place, I guess, to let loose. And for me, like, it was always, like, after the PBR finals or whatever, like, let's go out and have fun or whatever. But
yeah,
up until then, like, I always wanted to stay focused on what I needed to do.
Yeah,
well, that's good stuff. Admire that a lot, Cooper.
You stay who do you kind of hang out with now on tour, or like do you room with anybody, or what's your regiment?
Man, I'm kind of a loner. Like, I stay by myself, and but like after events or whatever, like I'll go eat with people or whatever. But I just I don't know, kind of just stick to myself.
Yeah, and I feel like it's the sacrifice, right? When you have that, when you sacrifice that, in your mind that you've put everything into that weekend. You don't go home thinking, fuck, I should have, if I would have just focused a little bit more or not been such a dumbass, like even just staying by yourself, even just like that sacrifice of the mind game that you go through before you get on. I know for me, whenever I wouldn't go through the steps, I never seem to do good. And then you just regret that all week when you're constantly doing what is going to get you there. It gives you that
like I'm okay if I go through a weekend and say if I get bucked off or whatever, and I know that I did everything I could, then I can live with it. But if there was basically if I was didn't go through a step, or I missed something on my own fault, then that's the stuff I harp on. Like if I screw up on my own self, whatever.
Here's something for you. How do you handle that peer, like being strictly business and handling your own business? How do you handle that peer pressure, say from, other bull riders or media, whatever it may be? What is your comeback to say them saying, well, you don't ever come out, you don't ever do this? I think a lot of guys fall to that peer pressure, and maybe it definitely hinders their career when they're not reaching their full potential.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. They don't really jack with me about it that much, like, I don't know. I guess they all know that I'm kind of a family man. I don't really care to go out that much or anything like that. But so honestly, I mean, they don't really mess with me much about it.
Which means a lot. It means that you have their respect 100%, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, look what you do in the arena.
That's how I'd say that too. I think you've proved what you're capable of, and I'm glad we got you on here. I'm learning stuff every time you open your mouth here, Cooper. I'm learning something here, and I hope this, like I said, our listeners, some of these young talent, we're in that business up here of creating young bull riders, and man, you got a good story. You got a really good story to tell.
Appreciate it.
Coop, let's walk through 2016, the year you win the world title. You had a pretty solid first half, but that second half, kind of similar to JB's first world title, you just went on a roll, started winning everything. You started in Nashville, won that. Walk us through the second part of 2016 and what changed for you.
2016, it started off kind of like every other year. And, about August, I guess, I just knew it was time to either hit the gas pedal or, get ready for next year. And I just hit the gas pedal and I broke my collarbone, I guess, third event coming back. And that was like really heartbreaking because I didn't know, most time you break your collarbone in 6 weeks. Tandy said, yeah, we can get you back in 2 weeks, and put a plate in it. And that was, from then on I rode better because I was worried about that collarbone hurting it. So it seems like I didn't have any problem staying over my rope then.
So that's all it takes, just a couple plates. Build all your confidence, eh?
Yeah. So you came back in 2 weeks after you broke your collarbone. That's pretty unheard of as well.
Yeah, I think I missed 15 days before I was able to get back on, and that was I don't know, ended up being a good thing, really.
Yeah, getting back to it. So then you go to the World Finals. You're having a good World Finals. Does your ride on Catfish John, does that one always stick out to you? That was one that kind of clinched it, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was it. That's my favorite bull of all time, just for that reason right there. And I've won a couple of prestigious bull rides on him, but he's I don't know. He's always been really good to me. He's bucked me off too, but I've always told Chad I was going to buy that bull when he retired him.
Yeah, retire him at your house. So then
Yeah.
I remember we were standing behind the buck and shoots, getting ready. We're in the short round. JB slaps Stone Sober. Kaike was I can't remember what bull he got on. But he gets bucked off. And there wasn't very many of us that knew it, but those of us that were like putting the stats together, I knew. And I was standing right beside Cooper. I'm standing right there. And you remember we met eyes, and it was like you realized it, I realized it. There was about 5 or 6 of us around it. We're like, holy fuck, Cooper Davis. Cooper just won the world.
Yeah, man, I got chills thinking about it right now because, I mean, as a kid, that's what you always want to do, but it seems out of grasp. And, like, it seemed out of grasp until that moment. You know, like, I don't know. I got all choked up about it. And whenever I was getting on the short round bull, like, I didn't even want to do it. It was just, dang.
Yeah, you got it. I'm the champion of the
Like
world.
they announced it before I got on, and I wish they didn't do it because I didn't even, it's just whatever. Like, let me get this over with.
Yeah. That's wild. So then we talked a little bit about it, but you kind of, after that, you kind of, all your goals came to fruition really early on in your career. You lost that kind of, that focus and that goal to be a world champion. But now, like we talked, you got that back, you're ready to roll. What do you think, what's your kind of your goals now moving forward? Obviously world title this year and then see where it goes, or are you trying to break some records, or what's your goals for the future?
Man, I don't know. Like, I just want to take it this year and see, you know, how it goes. And I've never had a start to a season where, you know, like I've been satisfied with the way I've started. So, you know, I just want to start strong and keep going at it the way that I've been going at it. And, you know, hopefully by the end of this year, then I'll have to put on another gold buckle. And I don't want to be done yet. So.
That's good to hear. That's good to fucking hear, man. Yeah. Yeah. I thought when I left, I was like, I don't think Cooper's gonna be far behind me. And fucking so good to see you still rolling and winning. And yeah, it's gonna be cool to watch. I told you I had you picked, and then these guys didn't pick Jose at the start, so then I had to go and pick Leme, but I think I fucked that up because you're looking pretty
Yeah, we all did. Yeah. If we did this pod, if we'd have done this pod with Cooper in January, I'm all in on Cooper Davis, 100%. I love where you are mentally in your career here, Cooper. And you know, we deal with athletes regularly, and there's a book called Mind Gym.
Oh yeah,
a guy out of Scottsdale. Good book. I'll get Tanner to text you that, and if you're into that, I'd like to get your opinion on it because I buy it 24 copies at a time, and I've fired them off to some of my hockey players and whatnot that I represent. Because it doesn't matter what sport you're in. It doesn't matter if you're a tennis player, a bull rider, or hockey player, or football player. You can insert your personality, your name, or your characteristics into any line in that book, and that's what they've done. So I think that's pretty cool. And on that, I want to, you talk about Catfish John, you love that bull. When you see your name besides something you don't like, and I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but there's bulls certain guys just don't like out there. Tanner can attest to that.
Scott, most of them I didn't like.
yeah, all of them.
What can you tell our listeners? Like, how do you change it up? Does anything change for Cooper Davis once you see your name beside, like, for example, Born to Sin in the 15-15 next week?
Yeah. So, like, for instance, that right there, I mean, that bull right there, he bucked me off in 2 seconds last time I got on him, but I don't know. I just know I have to be tougher this time. And it seems like every time I go into a short round 15th or something like that, they leave me with something. That's whenever I really, I shine, because you got to get mean in those situations, and, don't let them get it, don't let them prove you to where you can't ride them. So Every situation is different, but like, I don't know, like I kind of thrive in those situations where I've got Spotted Demon or even like that Dusty's Revenge. That's probably one of the least likely bulls that any right-handed guy's ever going to ride. I just, I didn't want him to win when I got on him, so that's just the way I went at it. Like, you're not going to throw me off and do whatever, but here I am.
What about your riding style itself? It's really unlike anybody else's, and what I've noticed is, like, especially if bulls away from your hand, you could shuffle your outside foot, like your non-dominant foot. You're kicking loose with that thing like it's a bull spinning into your hand and it's your left foot.
Yeah,
that's a very, very difficult thing to do for those that don't know bull riding. If you watch your videos, you've seen it riding solo the other weekend. You were just shuffling that thing, kicking loose with that outside foot away from your hand, like I said, which is very hard to do. Where did you learn that from? And the way that you nod straight up and down, you have the perfect style, and you get all the points out of them, and you can ride really every style of bull. What did you base your riding after, or where did you learn how to ride like that?
And the leaving the chute thing, I actually learned that from Bonner Bolton, because he would always lead the chute, straight up and down, and I would always have a problem getting my heels clicked, right out of there. And it seemed like if I could get out of there, then I could sit up and ride them. So that's where that came from, was watching videos of Bonner and, leaving the chute. And, as far as shuffling my feet, though, like, I really don't know where that came from. It's just one of those things that, like, you feel like, when you're on them, and let's see if this works type deal. And, on riding solo the other weekend, I was a little bit behind. So, I thought maybe if I can just lift my leg and kind of transfer my weight over to the left side right there, then, it'd kind of get me around there. And that seems to be my MO, though. Like, if I can keep shuffling my feet, that's the one thing that, gets me thrown off at times, is when I try to clamp down and just hold on, where if I can stay loose and keep grinding, then they normally still get to that next jump and find a way to get back in the middle.
Yeah, that's badass.
Been working.
Fuck yeah. Okay, one good question I have for you too, and it's, if you've listened to our pods at all from our earlier ones, I have been really fucking adamant about this new point system, and it's mostly just because how the point system has changed 5 or 6 times in the last however many years, and all the different shit that goes on behind the scenes that lots of the fans and people don't understand what's going on as a rider in the PBR. What's your take on the point changes, where the PBR is at internally, externally, and how the guys are being treated compared to when you first came around, or how is things in that locker room?
Yeah, so since 2015, like, there's been a different format or a different point system every single year, it seems like. And like, bull riding's pretty simple. I mean, you can make it just as simple as as it can possibly be, and that's kind of the way that it should be. The guy that rides the most bulls should be your event winner, and this year, every guy kind of feels the same way, and nobody really understood coming into the season, how it was all distributed, how to win, basically. And it's just, I don't know, for us, we wanted to simplify it to where, if you were 80 points, you got points for staying on. And I don't know. It's been confusing with the way that, it's set up now, after the guys were able to kind of have our input, and the PBR wanted to listen to us on it, and kind of come to an agreement on, what was best for everyone. I think now we've got a point system that is beneficial to every guy that, I hate to say it, there's guys that stay on a whole bunch of bulls. They just, they don't score very high. And Jared Parsons was like the number one thing that we brought up the finals that year. He rode 4 bulls and didn't win a dime. That should never be possible.
Yeah.
And, PBR knew that. They were taking that in consideration, but, it's just from a rider standpoint, it needed to be simplified to where, the right guy won, the aggregate winner won, not the guy that was 89 in the long round and 93 in the short round but fell off another one. Then it becomes a drawing contest. So basically, I think where we're at now with it, it's the best. best, point system that we've had since I've been here.
Cool.
Are you pretty vocal on that, Cooper? Like, we all know there's some guys didn't get on there a couple weeks ago. Like, were you one of the guys that was, standing your ground on that and what you felt was right?
Well, I mean, all guys, every guy there felt the same way, and that's, once the PBR seen that and took that in consideration, that was, when you've got 30 guys that are tying their hand in the rope, that's what makes the difference. And we're very thankful that they were willing to listen to us on it, because we're putting our bodies on the line every single weekend, and then when we have to go get on one extra short round bull a weekend, that was going to be a hard deal to do. And it was nothing about the money. It was nothing about us not wanting to get on the extra bull or anything like that. But when you have it spread so thin and having to get on 2 short round bulls a weekend, and then maybe having a 15-15 in there, then that gets really, really hard on your body. And
well, no shit. And you talk about how mentally fit, and I see that in you, Cooper, how mentally fit and physically fit you are. It don't matter. Like, when you're going up against an opponent that outweighs you by 10 times and has the ability to take you out completely, it's no contest at times. Sometimes it just isn't. And Tanner said it. He nailed it. He goes, I love PBR, the only sport where you get rewarded or you get punished for being really good, because you got to get on more bulls.
That's absolutely right.
No, it makes sense. And a bull rider career is only it's only so long to begin with. And it's good. I'm glad that it got worked out, because it's been discussion on a few of our pods with our guests. So I remember when it first come up, I could just see how fired up old Red was here. He was, well, there you go.
See, it's like Cooper will probably agree with it too. But it's just respect. Like, just respect your fucking athletes. They're without guys like Cooper Davis, especially with the way that the bulls are nowadays, you're not going to go down the street and find guys that can ride bulls like that. There's a handful of guys, Cooper, and not even all the 35 guys in that top era can ride all those bulls. So take what Coop has to say into consideration, or the top guys, because those are the ones that are keeping your sport going. So that was my only thing. I think it's just a respect, and that's good to hear that it went both ways, and you guys were able to get that lined out.
I think the biggest thing with that was, they've got a TV schedule that they've got to, basically adhere by. And, they're so worried about that. They didn't have time to think about, well, what are we actually putting the guys through, and this and that. And, once we sit down and we're able to talk about it, they were able to see our side of it. And Sean Gleason, the CEO, literally sat down and gave everybody his phone number and said, hey, if there's something that you want to bring to the table, or there's something that you want to bring up, then give me a call. And I think that's probably the most badass thing I've ever seen a CEO do, say, hey, if there's something you don't like, give me a call and let's work it out.
That's
any
cool.
other CEO would have been like, if you don't like it, then whatever.
Yeah.
But that was really cool of him to do that.
Well,
okay.
I think in a move like that, Sean gets the room back. And what I mean by that, he got all the respect. He might have had lost it for a brief time when you guys were pissed, thinking about and confused on this new point format. But, then he offers up that, and he gets the room back, because he needs you guys. You guys need him. It's a 50-50. It's a 50-50 relationship. You can't do one without the other. So.
Yeah. And I think Tanner, he'll be able to tell you, like, most of the time we'll go sit in a meeting and they just tell you this is the way it's going to be. And, that's really hard whenever you're the one that's putting your hand in the rope. And,
fucking name.
Now, they, granted, we had a discussion about it and everything else, but like, we're actually loving to be there now. Like, I think you've seen in the last 2 weekends.
That's good. That's good to hear.
I think you're seeing better bull riding. I think everybody's happy to be there. We feel like everybody's got a fair shot at winning, and the right winner's winning. It's not based off of a point system where, a guy beats you on 2 rides when you rode 3.
Right.
So.
That's awesome. Fucking great. Well, that's good to hear.
Thing for the sport.
Yeah, that's good. And it just takes respect back and forth. And seeing both sides.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. We'll have some fun though now. My first ever Built Ford Tub Series event, I came out of the locker room, put my rope on my bull, went to climb across, and realized that I was so fucking nervous that I'd forgot my glove in the locker room. And I had to borrow Brant Atwood's after he just rode. So obviously it was just like sweaty and wet and, you know, no stick on it. I was like, oh my God. I hear you have a kind of a similar story of your first NFR and maybe putting your rope on the wrong way.
Yeah. So like I'd always rode with an American rope. I never rode with a Brazilian or anything. So got to the lead up alleys and, you know, I'm putting my rope on and anyway, bull runs in the chute and they're like, hey, you got a rider ahead of you. And I look down and my rope's on backwards. And I was just like, holy crap, dude. Like, how do you get to this point and then put your rope on backwards at the NFR? So like I'm scrambling and I'm pretty sure I got a fine because like they're
That's what they're just waiting to give you one of those $250 fines at the NFR.
But I legit like contemplated like, should I just go with this and get on with it backwards or like, you know, like I don't want to embarrass myself, but yeah, that was embarrassing.
Oh, that's funny. And you're a guy that's actually like, you're very particular on all of your equipment, right? Like if you have to borrow somebody's shit, like it doesn't work for you. You're a guy that makes sure you have everything right. You switch bull ropes quite often to make sure everything's good.
Yeah. I mean, I order probably 4 or 5 bull ropes a year just to keep it fresh. You know, I don't, if my handle starts getting broke down, I don't like that. So if my equipment doesn't show up that weekend or whatever, that really gets into my head.
Yeah.
Have you had that happen a few times flying? Your shit didn't show up?
It did, man. It's happened 2 or 3 times and it's never panned out. Like, I don't know. It just, I can't stand not having my own stuff. And like, I don't know. It gets to me.
Yeah. And the head game again? But that does fuck with you because nothing feels the same.
Yeah. I mean, like whenever you go through like repetitions of doing everything the same and then like you're forced to like basically break away from all that and then just throw shit together.
Yeah.
That gets really hard.
Okay, what about
I want my own skin back.
What about the sports med crew? I haven't asked any of the other guys yet about this, but I've been getting some calls from the boys and they've been listening in. So how are those guys doing? Dave and Rich, the whole crew, they still the same? I heard there's a new guy that seems to be just as crazy as those guys.
Oh yeah, no, they're all doing good, man. They're I don't know, just fun to listen to on a day-to-day basis.
That's the hangout for people that don't know at the events. That's pretty much where you'll find all the bull riders, and probably because most of us are hurt and we need some help. But lots of the times it's just sitting in and listening to the stories with those guys. I miss those guys probably more than anything.
Yeah, no, they're a good time.
Who are you looking at right now? So say a couple years down the road, you and Jess and the, you know, you top guys are out of the game. Who are you looking at that you think is an up and coming guy, or maybe a young guy on tour, Colton Fritzlin, or maybe a Mason Taylor? Who are you looking at that's going to be the next the big dog on the PBR tour, you think?
Both of those guys that you just mentioned, they would have been my top picks. Colton's really good. Bujo's really good. And then Mason, you know, I think he's kind of in the same place I was in 2015. He's not quite sure how to believe in himself yet, but once he gets there, like, he's going to be the real deal. And he's had little short instances where he was, you know, basically proved that, but I don't know. I just keep waiting for him to flip a switch and be at the top. So
that's cool.
Do any of those younger guys lean on you a little bit once in a while? Just pick your brain and how you.
So I talked to Mason quite a bit. He's actually a pretty good buddy of mine, and you know, I talked to him throughout the week, and he's reached out to me on meal plans and things like that. And I don't know, like he's a guy that really studies the game and works at it too. So I think he'll do big things.
So on talking about meal plans, who's the cook in the house?
Oh, my wife. She's I don't know. She studies the meal plans and counts macros and everything like that. So it makes it really easy whenever she's the one that's cooking to just sit down and eat. So
does Mac like that food too? Is he good?
Oh, he's all McDonald's and SpaghettiOs, man. He doesn't care, but I don't know. That kid's got a tapeworm. He's super skinny.
Well, I got a question for you. I know your wife, she works out a lot.
Yeah.
When you're working out with her, have you ever had to look over and go, okay, enough, you got me, I'm done?
All the time.
All the time.
She's
Every day.
I hate working out with her. Because like every time I do, like I embarrass myself. Like you think you're in good shape, and then you look over and she's just Cadillacing through it, and you just you can't do it. So,
Sucking air.
So I got a question now. We're talking about family and competition. I was checking out today. I see Kate's got 114,000 Instagram followers, and you're only at 107. What's going on with that? Well, the obvious, if anybody goes and looks, the obvious is there, but
she's better looking than me. So.
Yeah.
Did you ever think when you started your Instagram, like you're going to be 100,000 in at this point?
I remember when I got to like 10K, I was like, man, this is really cool, and I never thought I'd have 100,000 followers or anything like that. And then her, I guess she's super adamant about posting, and like me, I'm more of a private person. Like I'll post bull rides and like a few family pics and stuff like that. But I mean, with her, like she'll tell you whatever. I mean, she's very open about whatever. So, a lot of people respect her for that.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing.
She's kicking my ass on Instagram.
One thing also, like that you talk about your mindset for a lot of the young guys too. This is one thing that we won't keep you for a whole bunch longer, Coop. Sorry, we'll let you go.
Oh, you're good, man.
It's all good. But you guys are totally business minded, and one thing that you've always done is Kate, if you follow her on Instagram, she has her own businesses. You've got your own businesses outside of bull riding. Everything that you've done inside the arena, you've put that into something outside of the arena. You're not one of those guys that has just blown all his money, spent all his money. You've been working your whole career to set yourself up for life after bull riding. So how does that kind of look outside of the arena, and what are you going to do maybe when you're done?
So that's always been like my goal. So, the first thing I ever wanted to do was pay off my house. Opening businesses, what'll be successful. And so we'd always wanted to do a wedding venue, and finally found the right piece of land to do that, and started that up, and it's doing really well, and her, it's a funny story because like the first thing she ever wanted to do other than the wedding venue was do like the lashes. And she was like, I know I can do it, like it'll be successful. And I was like, well, this will be a hobby, and I mean, she literally, like, she does really, really good, like with the lashes, and she's as much of a contributor in this family as I am, and that's really cool to see because both of us really didn't start from a whole lot, and to see like what each of us has brought to the table has been the best thing. So I really look up to her in a lot of ways for that.
Who can we credit the style to? And when I say that, that's her right off the bat. Well, I noticed that, and Scott and I have talked about this before. When you see a young kid come to a PBR Canada event, and you just kind of get that vibe from, right? Their pants are starched, their shirts, pressed, the hat isn't, pulled out of the back seat behind the seat underneath a jerry can or something. That's one thing I always admired about you, Cooper, is you always, there's nothing out of place, man. And is that something that Kate has really pushed on you, or is that just natural? Because if you go on either Instagram account, you guys definitely got some style. I think
full pro.
Full pro. That's the best way to put it. So where's that come from?
And I've always taken a lot of pride in just being neat, I guess. And with her, she's always been very influential on what I should wear at times because, I mean, I am her husband, so I guess she gets to pick out my clothes from time to time. But, I mean, there's the biggest thing that people love to say on Facebook or Instagram or whatever is like, well, Cooper Davis is a cowboy. No, I don't always wear, my cowboy attire, but I don't know. I feel like I can do anything and look good at the same time. I don't know. So
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
what you do. It's
Never
not
really
how you
bothered me.
look. Yeah, I've always said that too because
Yeah.
I was the opposite of what Jason was just saying. I'd show up at the fucking bull riding with ripped pants and my hat on backwards.
Oh yeah.
Like I never felt like I had to look a certain way.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you don't have to be approved. You don't have to have approval for anybody else. As long as you're good with what you're doing, you're good to go.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, Scott. Scott's got his infamous question that we need to get to.
Well, Cooper, it's been awesome chatting with you, and we all know that this is the NFP podcast, and I'm going to pose the question to you. What does hashtag NFP mean to you?
Shoot, man, it just means to know you're the baddest cat out there, and I mean, that's it. You know, don't be a pussy.
I like it.
I like it. That's good. Well, I think that's good. I mean, we got through a lot there. I appreciate you spending your time with us. I know that you guys always have a lot going on. You can follow Cooper and Kaylin both on social medias, and you can see Cooper going fucking viral on TikTok with the. Have you guys seen that one, Jason Scott?
Oh, I haven't.
Oh, you got to see this.
TikTok.
Okay, TikTok, yeah, it's awesome, and it's hilarious. But so there's like these challenges that you do, and how did that one go, Cooper? Can you explain that one?
Yeah, so this one was like you have to imitate like your wife or whatever, and basically like in their day-to-day life. So I had to pretend to be my wife, and I nailed it pretty good. And it was like my first TikTok ever, and it got like 1.9 million views.
Oh wow.
So
Nice.
like, I think I'm done with TikTok after that.
Yeah, you broke TikTok. You broke the internet. Yeah. But yeah, so everybody go follow them on there. And that being said, us three right here and everybody with the NFP podcast, you're talked about pretty much every single episode. So we're going to be following you and rooting for you to, like we said, win about 3 more of those sheets and a bunch more world titles. And yeah, we just hope that you keep enjoying it and keep having fun. And we really, really appreciate you spending the time coming on our pod.
Yes, sir. And thank you guys.
All right, brother. From the NFP podcast, Cooper Davis.